Welcome back. We'll still continue this conversation about the president's speech as well as the protesters' demands. And some are saying it fell short of the demands of the protesters. But in that speech, the president also reeled out about 29 policies of his that they are managing to ensure that the government or the economy is, in their words, reset. So we're being joined on the program by the Minister of State for Steel, who joins us from our Abuja studio, Mr. Uba Maigari Amadu. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure having you.
So when you listen to the president, I would like your take on the president's speech, where he reeled out some of those policies. But as a first take in this particular conversation, survival is a dangerous precipice. Hunger is an existential threat. The protesters said what the president said is not what they are looking for. As far as they are concerned, he's aloof. Is that what you saw?
No. Unfortunately, that wasn't what I saw. What I saw was a president, a compassionate president, a listening president, a responsive and a responsible president who, for the first time, I stand to be corrected, in the history of this nation, faced Nigerians and has continuously faced Nigerians to do his job, whether online or back in his office. People who want to argue that they did not hear what they expected. Naturally, if you're expecting something else, you wouldn't hear that from the president, because the president, first of all, has a duty as the father of the nation to look at those issues dispassionately and respond to them. If someone, for instance, was expecting to hear something like, oh, we've restored the subsidy, left to me, that is not a responsible way of dealing with issues. I would expect the president to say what he did say. Governance, especially of a very complex economy like Nigeria, is not something that will just throw you up and you say things in a flight of fancy. You sit back. We don't have time. I agree. We sit back, review those issues, and put forward to Nigerians well-grounded solutions in direct response to the issues of these young men and women who brave the odds to go to the streets to tell the president what they feel as Nigerians. And mark you, they did the right thing for as long as they remained on the side of the law. But government has continuously warned, alongside the security agencies, that there were likelihoods that miscreants and anarchists, people who have different intentions, will take over the good intentions of those well-meaning young men and women who came onto the streets to tell the president what they feel as Nigerians.
So in your view, by your assessment from where you're seated, do you believe and agree, and by conviction, that the president actually addressed what the people are looking for? Is that what you're saying?
The issue is this, the answer is twofold. He addressed the issues generally. And in connection to my immediate response, the last one I made, is that any responsible president will not rush into airing those well thought out issues just like that. He needs to sit with the National Economic Advisor on issues that bother on the economy, the Minister of Finance, the coordinator or coordinating Ministry of the Finance, coordinating Minister of the Economy, to articulate serious responses to those issues that were raised. I expected, like I said before, that the president will not rush into giving answers. This is not a frivolous person. This is someone that has invested 40 years of his life in promoting these ideals of democracy, of the rule of law. You would think now that his president will just toss it out and fritter this opportunity that he has worked for nearly 40 years to have the opportunity to govern Nigerians, the same Nigerians he cares so much for. Nigerians will need another opportunity probably to look at him at close quarters. Not like because I'm on this side. First and foremost, the president is also Nigerian, and so are we, members of the cabinet. I do not think for any second that the president will just rush out because he wants Nigerians to say he's very popular or this or he's the best person to have been president. No. Like I said earlier, any serious, responsible president will react to those issues after a well thought out meeting with the coordinators. Those issues that bother the economy will definitely have to be sorted out from those in charge of the economy. That is my response.
Honorable Minister, listening to what you're saying, if you look at all the charters of demand, there are different demands. Some had 15, some had 10, some had 5, and all of that. There's a common line. And some are short-term, some are medium-term, some are the immediate. And no matter the charter you look at, none is new. These are things we have been dealing with for as many years, like cutting the cost of governance. That issue, the transparency in the oil sector, and all of those issues. So when you say the president needs to sit down, if he's been in this struggle for many years, so these are not new issues. So don't you think there are issues that the president could have addressed or at least made a promise? So let me give you an instance. People are saying cut down the cost of governance.
Okay.
So the constitution says he must appoint one minister from one state. So that makes it 36 and FCC 37. Things like cutting down the number of ministers, for instance, it doesn't take magic. It doesn't take anything too magical to decide that. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. But also, if you are a Nigerian, like I'm sure you are,
I am.
And you're following this government, you would have, especially that you are a journalist, a very wonderful one at that. You would have followed developments in the council. About 2-3 months ago, our sister Hadiza Bala, who is in charge of coordinating the affairs of the policy coordination, stated and gave a press statement in respect of the president's decision on Orosanya panel. And you know how long it has taken. The report of the Orosanya panel has taken on the shelves for this government that is 14 months in power to have responded to that. In essence, what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you. There are some of those issues that will have been addressed. And he has already addressed some of those issues, including the one you asked now. It's out there in the public domain what the government feels or thinks or has decided to do with some agencies, merging some, in fact, throwing away some others completely. I think he has responded to that. Let me go a little bit further. About shortages, food shortages. Have you bothered to ask the several other tiers of government how and what they have received? The federal government has continuously sent out rice and grains generally to the states for onward distribution to the states, and this is across board. No APC, no ABGA, no Labour Party. You need to go a little bit further. This federation is comprised of 3 tiers of government at this level. We have the federal government, you have the states and the local governments. You should probe the other arms of government. I'm not talking about the legislature or the judiciary. You probe the subnationals. Go to the local governments under those states. We have addressed those issues. We have addressed cost of governance by way of cutting down numbers of people who are not needed. And those several other agencies, people have been given the options of taking out early exits. And then by way of merging of agencies, there are so many agencies that have been merged, some have been proscribed outrightly. And mark you, There are some of those agencies that cannot just be unilaterally thrown out. They have to come by way of legislation. Most of these issues are being dealt with through the ambit of the law. And I want to use this opportunity to plead with Nigerians to be a little bit patient with the president.
All right.
I am not making excuses. We are Nigerians like the president is. We live in Nigeria. We have relations in Nigeria. All those issues concern us too. We have relations who fall into several categories of those issues raised by young people in Nigeria. Right. And I want to use this forum to tell you that in the not too distant future, I am definitely sure that this president that we have will respond the way they want. But the word of caution here is, I do not think it is right for the president to just rush into answering those issues directly in 2 days after the protest. Well, he has appealed to Nigerians to be patient.
Right. And this is something that irks Nigerians. The appeal for patience, for calm, just persevere a little bit for the citizens. But then the citizens look at those in government and they say, we don't see this perseverance. We don't see this, this patience on their part. All we see is profligacy. The way they carry about, the way they spend money, their retinue of vehicles and aids, it doesn't reflect this patience that they are calling for. And I see the deflecting happening. So the legislators will say, no, it is the ministers. Have you seen their budget? Have you seen each minister with the Land Cruisers that they have? We as members of the National Assembly, we only have one vehicle. Have you seen the convoy of a minister? That has been said a lot during this period. Then we hear the federal government say, no, go to state governments. We've given them money. By the way, the Nasarawa state governor, the last time we spoke to him, said that the states had not received the rights, particularly his state. And this announcement was made, I think, weeks ago, and he had not gotten his. So that's a big hole. But let's come to the point of addressing the cost of governance. Some have said, do we really need the Oronsoye report, particularly because we've been doing white paper upon white paper, and we've not seen the cutting down as we ought to, drastic measures being taken. So let's take you, for example, Minister. How many vehicles do you have, for example? What is in your convoy? What is your budget like? Does it reflect that Nigeria is not as buoyant as it is, such that Nigerians will look at you and say, this man is not exhibiting profligacy, so we can rest assured that they are also feeling the pinch?
Luckily, I'm right within your premises. And if I'm lying, you have your people to check it out. You can go out, ask your people to check out. The vehicles are out there. I have just one vehicle and another one for the security, just because we are expected to be taken care of like that because of the nature of the work we do, but not in special. I ride one vehicle. It is out there within your premises. So I can speak for myself. I don't want to generalize, but most of my colleagues are doing the same thing, towing the same line. This is not the time to indulge in a unnecessary profligacy, like you said. All of us are responsible people. We know what the country is going through. We are experiencing low revenues, and you think that as responsible Nigerians, in times like this, difficult times like this, perilous times, we have so many issues to deal with, then we'll just go about as if the other Nigerians should go to hell. No. That's not the way to go, and I don't subscribe to that. But directly, as it concerns me, I just told you that I'm within your premises, and I have just one vehicle for myself, and the other one for the security aids. You have your people around to check. For the Oronsoye report, I think Nigeria, when we say that you should be patient with the president, we are not saying that you should just hang on there forever. No, that is not what we mean. We are saying that in the face of the issues at hand, you should be patient. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. The president will respond to these issues very, very soon. I'm sure about that. I'm not the president's spokesman. I know you know Bayo Nanuga and Ajurin Gilale. They are people who are saddled with the responsibility of speaking for the president. But because I'm a member of the council, I will tell you that most ministers operate just the way I do, and you have your people. You are responsible and investigative journalists. You've won several awards. I'm sure you can verify. For Rosanya report,
right,
while you are being hard on our government, you also check back and see whether we acted swiftly on the Rosanya report or we also slept on the job like previous governments did.
All right. Honorable Minister, we have seen time and again the convoys of ministers. While you may have brought one or two vehicles, that's not to say that those are all the vehicles in your pool. That's another thing entirely. And regarding your salary, for example, the allowances, are they reflective of what the average Nigerian is facing out there? In fact, one of the demands of the protesters is that people like you should be placed on minimum wage. They don't see any reason why government officials should be earning the kind of money they earn, while Nigerians, who, by the way, are the taxpayers, are the ones bearing the brunt, are the ones earning 70,000 naira minimum wage. So I wonder if you would agree, if it's service to the nation, wouldn't it be okay if you earn 70,000 naira as you know, your wage, maybe something more for the allowance, but basically see it as service to the nation, a nation that is really challenged. Don't forget, the president talked about a noose around the economic jugular of Nigeria. So we're in the dire straits right now. So is it too much for the protesters to ask, Minister?
It is not too much. It is not too much. And if you ask me, operating within the law, say if the law provides for that, why not? It's a wonderful opportunity to serve the nation. And like I always say, speaking for myself, I can do this for free. And I'm sure it's the same with virtually all of my colleagues. No one there requires or has the need to rely on the salary of by the way, how much is it? I don't want to talk too much on that. These are things that are in the public domain. You can access the salaries of ministers with the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
Well, Minister, in the spirit of transparency and democracy, you can also
lay your hands
tell us
on those documents.
In the spirit of transparency to Nigerians, since we're laying the cards on the table, you can also tell them, since you represent them.
I wouldn't be fair. This is a matter of privilege. I wouldn't be fair on my colleagues. Probably someone doesn't want his salary to be disclosed.
No, but not you, Minister. You have told us the vehicles you have. Surely you can go a step further.
Oh, yes.
Tell us the salary. I mean, these are Nigerians, your people. So I'm sure that there's nothing.
You are Nigerian too. You are Nigerian too, my brother. There is nothing to hide here. I am Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I told you that this is an honor to serve my country, and I can do this for free. And I also told you that most, if not all of my colleagues can serve this country without having to receive the salary. But in any case, this is a public document that is in the public domain. The Revenue Mobilization Agency is an agency of government which you have access to. There is nothing wrong in asking you to do your job. Take it a little bit further and find out.
Minister, no, I think that's really clever by how. We have you here.
No, I cannot. I'm not running about anything.
As someone who is serving Nigerians. You are minister. By the way, the word minister, ministry, means serving. So you are serving Nigerians. You are a servant to Nigerians, the 200 million Nigerians who have put that trust in you. So asking us to now go through that process when you are here, I don't know if it's unfair to Nigerians, really, Minister.
I just told you that this is a matter of privilege. What happens to the rights of other ministers that have not been brought here? Just look at it the other way. I don't have any issue with telling you what the salaries of ministers are. By the way, it is nothing to write home about. Not like we are not, like I said, we are grateful for the opportunity. Being chosen out of 250 Nigerians, we are like 50 now, given the opportunity to serve the country. I told you that is just enough. Without the salary, we can do this job. There is nothing special about the salaries of ministers.
All right, Honorable Minister, we will not belabor the issue, but if you had told us, that would have been fine. But since you have decided not to, it's okay by us. The other point I was making was not just reducing the size of ministries. It's also to reduce the number of ministers. This is record high number of ministers. We've seen about 48 or so. But one of the things that Nigerians are troubled over, which we asked the government, I've asked this government a couple of times, and it's been difficult for anyone to provide the answer. Some people have said everybody Tinubu campaign, literally the presidential candidate, the top presidential candidate said they'll remove subsidy. And they will take some very hard decisions. But this government keeps telling everyone that, look, be patient. So Nigerians are asking, can you give us a timeline as to when we should begin to see some of these results? Because you're not the first. President Bola Tinubu doesn't even enjoy as much goodwill as at the time he won the election, doesn't enjoy as much goodwill as former President Muhammadu Buhari. When President Goodluck Jonathan was leaving, when he was voted out, it felt like, look, any other thing but not Goodluck Jonathan. And Buhari came, and a lot of people had hopes. This is where former President Buhari has landed all of us. Literally, President Bola Tinubu is almost starting from ground zero. So we're not new to all of this. We're repairing, we're resetting, we're rejigging. We've had it for a long time. Is there a timeline to when Nigerians can begin to see some glimmer of hope beyond stay positive, be hopeful, it's going to get better?
Well, let me answer it this way. You will have to go on the issues. Okay, if you are talking like the previous speaker, your colleague out there, I think he asked someone about CNG buses, the replacement kits and that. Yes, it will not take forever to deliver on the promises. There are some issues that are the exclusive prerogative of Mr. President. And you know that I'm not the president. I'm a minister. I serve under the president. And we are assigned responsibilities. It will be easier if you ask direct questions that I have responsibility over, or get another of my colleagues to ask him questions bordering on responsibilities assigned. But the president takes responsibility for everything. I can only tell you what I know. And as a member of council, of course, we sit there to discuss issues generally. So if you have specific questions,
all right, let me be specific.
Bordering on issues that you want
Honorable Minister, I'm going to ask two things. First, I'm going to say two things and ask the question, or say a few things. First, is that you are an appointee of government, but you come from a state, you come from a constituency. I'm sure people ask you questions like this. The cost of living is very high. Inflation is at all-time high, food and headline inflation. Things are quite difficult. And the government keeps telling us, you have to bear so that it can be better. So that is what I mean by a timeline. And let's come to your ministry. To be very honest, we don't hear so much about your ministry. In fact, your ministry is one of the ministries we hardly hear anything about. Ministry of Steel Development. Even as a journalist, we hardly hear anything about it. So one will wonder what exactly is going on in that ministry, because it holds a lot of potential to transform our manufacturing sector if it works. Look at Ajaokuta, moribund, and all of that. So perhaps let's speak to your ministry.
Before we speak on the ministry, I come from Taraba State, if you probably do not know. And for the past 8 days, I was in Taraba. I went on Sunday and returned yesterday. And throughout those 7 days that I was in Taraba, I engaged, I participated, because I was not alone. I had members of the State House of Assembly, and we engaged the people in, on all the issues that are trending now. Food shortages, what government is doing, the government's allocation of grains, rice, fertilizers to states. We followed up on those things to make sure whether they are there or not. And it will interest you to know that I also, alongside the state governor, His Excellency Governor Agu Kefas, went to meet after we finished ours, because I went on behalf of the federal government to engage the youth, and we had a wonderful engagement. Not a pin dropped in Taraba. The following day, which was a Wednesday, I accompanied alongside some of my colleagues, federal government employees, the former governor, and some stakeholders, major stakeholders in Taraba. We accompanied the governor to engage another set of peaceful I wouldn't call them protesters. It was a peaceful assembly in the government house. We addressed them and he told them how much he is doing to ease their suffering, about the food shortages, the amount of grains, rice. He has taken delivery of setting up committees to deliver them to the people. And the people, interestingly, the people were involved in setting up or suggesting modalities they feel will serve them best. And we concluded on that. I felt satisfied that I did my part, the state government is doing its part. That is one example of a cordial relationship between the federal government and a subnational. That is that. For Taraba, I'm sure you know that Taraba is one of the states that did not participate in this madness called protest. We agree that citizens have the right to protest. Just like the federal government and the states have the rights to protect the lives and properties of those who do not support the protest. So it was a balanced relationship. Coming back to my ministry, we are two ministers in the Ministry of Steel, and we have distinct responsibilities. But I will speak to you generally about what we do in the Ministry of Steel. If you say you have not had much from the ministry, it's probably because you have not bothered to find out. We are doing the much we can. I'll give you specifics. Not many Nigerians know that there is a school, an institute located in Onitsha called the Metallurgical Training Institute. This school is a specialist kind of school that was set up way back in 1979 by the government of President Shehu Shagarime. Allah grant him eternal repose. The school was set up principally in collaboration with the government of the Federal Republic of Germany, then principally to produce middle cadre staff for the steel sector. Where I'm sitting today, you can find out. We have a project in this year's budget where graciously the National Assembly appropriated sums to train 100,000 Nigerians on specific areas: metal fabrication, spot welding. And for your information, these students that are being trained in Onitsha have the capacity to work anywhere in the world. They have their curriculum well spelled out, and if you go there, you find students from Bauchi, from far-flung states like Jigawa, Taraba, all over the country. They are assembled there. They are taught. It's a school that's specifically targeted at producing technicians. And you know what this cadre of people earn, especially when they have Cisco certification and such other qualifications. They go abroad, they have the capacity to work anywhere and earn forex for the country. In this same country we are seated. We have students who are taught systems, instrumentation and control in Onitsha. That is just one institute and a project under this government.
All right, Minister, we have just about 2 minutes. On the clock, but fantastic point.
You said you've not had
yes,
about
fantastic points you have raised about training, and I think it's important to put the messaging out there. And I think that's been another challenge, communicating these policies. But when you refer to the protest as madness, I know a lot of people will take exception to that, particularly the peaceful protesters.
No, I didn't refer to the protesters as mad.
No, you said this madness called protest.
Breaking. No. Don't quote me out.
Those were your words.
I meant those who participated in violence, destroy. You wouldn't call those ones protesters. Those who went to steal break people's homes and shops and businesses and government's premises, stole stuff there.
But what you said was, Minister, what you said that this madness called protest. Those were your words. Now that you are given
I take that back and I apologize if it was understood in that perspective.
All right. I just want to quickly speak to this point as we wind down. The Ajaokuta steel plans. You said that you are training people, putting technology in place, but what is going to be feeding?
Not in Ajaokuta complex.
I know. You said that you're training on one side, but what will be feeding all of that training? The National Assembly frowned at the 4 billion plus naira for the, the wage bill for Ajaokuta when we're not getting anything. I know the minister had also said that we need between $2 billion to or more to get it back. So should we just look away from Ajaokuta on a final note? We have 30 seconds. Should we look away or keep being patient, as you said earlier on? And for how long?
No, you don't look away. It belongs to Nigeria and Nigerians. Nigerians should be hopeful. And one thing I want to close with is, Ajaokuta is not moribund like it's often put out there. This same government has engaged professionals, like AFDB, UNIDO, to look at it, and they have reported back to the president. In the not distant future, maybe a month or two, you should be able to see something. I want to employ journalists like you, very responsible journalists like you, to once in a while go out and check out these things. There are things that are physical, they can be verified.
Honorable Minister, not a problem. We're ready to do the work. If you are doing your work, well, we'll do our work. So we'll say moribund because
we're doing ours.
Yeah, as long as nothing is coming out from Ajaokuta, just like nothing is coming out from our refineries, it's not working, it's not working. There are no two ways about it. It's working when something comes out. If nothing is coming out, it is not working. There's no fancy way to say it. Honorable Minister, thank you so much. Minister of State, just 10 seconds. Wait, Tote? 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yes.
We have a wonderful project called the Vessel to Greenhouse Initiative. From vessels abandoned in all Nigeria's territorial waters, from Lagos to Bayelsa. We are partnering with 4 indigenous steel companies. We want to recover these vessels and turn them, break them down and turn them into greenhouses. What do we intend to do with them? To locate them in clusters around city centers, so as to produce crops that can be grown on the greenhouses to contribute towards food security in the country, especially in areas where we have issues. In the southeast, we have issues of criminality, insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest. That is a project we are very, very confident will make significant impact on the lives of Nigerians in respect of food security. All
right, Minister, this is a promise you have to make to us. You will come back on the show in future to come and that day we're going to dedicate it to your ministry. Is that okay by you? So that you can explain so we can engage with you and tell you what we know as against what you're telling us. Okay. Uber, Maigari Amadu.
I would prefer that you go make your findings before the next time.
Not a problem. Minister of State for Steel, Uber Maigari Amadu. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, so I think we have some
reactions. Fespaf Nandem has his first one from Plateau. Says people are hungry. Many can't afford food and medication. We need immediate actions. Hunger and sickness need fast action. And those are some of the comments from Fespaf.
Peter from Warri, Peter Diba says, I don't think the government is serious about addressing the real issues. They say they have heard the citizens' plea, but on the other hand, they say we should come for dialogue.
Law Alpha C says, let the protests cease now that it's turning violent gradually and criminal elements gradually gaining ground. And it references the president's address, which it says was plastic and did directly placate the demands of the protesters in Nigeria.
Moses Adewale from Boko in Benue says, Nigeria is for all of us, so everyone should come together irrespective of tribe, political affiliation, or religion and region to team up with our president for the betterment of our country. The president wants a better future for our nation. Let's support him.
Take a look at Samuel Adeshokwe from Ojota's comment saying, some Nigerians don't know how government is being run. Talk is cheap. You've heard about huge amount of money in trillions of naira received by the governors from the FG monthly. Governors should justify and explain, this user says. And there you have it. Those are the comments we can take at least for now. But the conversation continues right here on Channels Television because Sunrise Daily is next. I'm Kayode Okikelu.
And I'm Jeffrey Zama. Bye-bye.